Let's make one of my very favorite last minute desserts. Now, you know I love to make macarons and things like that, but they take a lot of planning and time. But if you're like me, you always have frozen berries in your freezer. So let's start with a bunch of those. Cover them with some sugar, and depending on how much time you have, either let them sit at room temperature, leave them in your fridge overnight, or put it on a double boiler and allow all the sugar to just take all of the juices out of those berries as they thaw. After some time, again, whether it's overnight in the fridge, a couple hours at room temperature, or the double boiler method, you should end up with a mixture that looks like this, with basically a berry simple syrup and then the thawed berries as well. Use a fine mesh sieve to just strain all of that juice out of the berries and separate those, and just leave that to the side. Now, I also usually have some sort of cake scrap or something like that in my freezer that I have from a project I was working on. Right now, I have some extra ladyfinger from the tiramisu I made. So, to incorporate all these elements together, I'm just making a really, really simple and fast whipped cream here, just with cream, vanilla, and powdered sugar. If you wanted to make this a mascarpone cream, to add that in there. If you did just make a tiramisu and you had extra of that cream or any other cream you have on hand, if you've been working on a mousse cake or anything like that, you might have some other flavors or things you might want to add in here. All I'm going to do is whip this up to about a medium stiff peak, set it aside, and then we're already ready to build these berry trifle. So I am going to have this as an individual serving, and I'm taking my leftover ladyfinger sponge, or again, whatever cake you have. If it's a pound cake, a dacquoise, whatever it is, we're gonna treat that berry juice that we have from the sugar and frozen berries. We're gonna treat this like it's a tiramisu soak. Soak the sponge into that berry syrup and then into whatever container you're using. It goes. If you want to make this family style like a traditional tiramisu, absolutely go for it. Whatever you're doing, individual or family style, just have one nice layer of the soaked ladyfinger or whatever sponge in the bottom. Then we are going to layer the other things on top of that. Next up, I am going to put a nice, even, thin layer of the berries followed by the cream. Then I'm going to repeat this entire process. Soaked sponge, berries, cream, and that is all. It is seriously so easy. And just like a tiramisu, this is a dessert that really would like to sit in the refrigerator for a couple hours or even overnight if you have the time. But if you make this 30 minutes or an hour before you serve it, it's still going to be insanely delicious. And if you are a baker like me, all of these ingredients are things that you probably have in your kitchen because you're using them constantly for your bakes. The frozen fruit, the cream, the sugar, some kind of leftover sponge. Or if you just wanted to make this, you absolutely could intentionally make this berry trifle or turn it into more of a berry tiramisu. If you want to use my tiramisu recipe, make the ladyfinger sponges on purpose. If you want to make this family style, you can still use that same mascarpone cream instead of just the basic whipped cream. If you want this to be a little bit more decadent and fancier, you can still use the berry soak and the layer of berry, especially if you are not a coffee lover. The other thing I really love using this trifle is for anytime during the summer when it is like peak berry season, peak farmers market season, and there are just tons of fresh berries I want to buy and eat and use up. And a lot of those, especially local farmers market kind of berries or other fruits, have a pretty short shelf life. And so they are things that you might buy in bulk and you might want to use as quickly as possible. So either you can use this recipe instead of the frozen fruit, you can use the fresh berries, or you can even freeze those berries in a season and then use them year round as you are creating things like this or your other pastries. You absolutely can swap out the frozen berries. I used a mix of raspberries, blueberries, and strawberries. But if you want to have a mix of any other fruits, if you want to use peaches, if you want to use just strawberries, if you want to use blueberries and blackberries, whatever it is, honestly, this is so, so, so versatile. And again, beyond it being just like a really lovely, fine dessert that isn't that time consuming to make, it is the perfect dessert for using up any random scraps of leftovers you have from your pastry kitchen. I hope you give this a try, especially as something to multi-purpose your leftovers. If you do, let me know, give me a tag so I can see what you create as well. I hope you enjoyed this video and I will see you for the next recipe very soon. Until then, have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye!